Ukraine claims that it has destroyed Russian bombers worth billions of dollars in a large-scale drone assault on enemy soil, as it geared up for talks with Moscow and counterparts to explore prospects of a ceasefire. President Zelensky claimed that Ukraine's Operation Spiderweb destroyed Russian bombers worth at least $7 billion in its most long-range operation of the war. While Kiev claims that the deep strike inside Russian territory, named Operation Spiderweb, was planned for over a year. According to the Ukraine's Security Service, SBU, the operation itself was personally overseen by President Zelensky and executed by SBU Chief Vasyl Malyuk using FPV drones. Well, according to reports quoting a Ukrainian security official, the drones were hidden under the roofs of small wooden houses. Now, these mobile houses were then transported on trucks, and once in place, the roofs were opened remotely, releasing a swarm of drones that struck the airfield simultaneously. An eyewitness video showed drones flying out of a truck parked near Russia's Belaya Air Base. Ukraine targeted strategic nuclear bombers in Belaya Air Base in Serbia, Ivanovo Air Base northwest of Moscow, and Diaghilevo Base, which is located south of Moscow, which also came under attack. A huge explosion also rocked the Russian Arctic city of Severomorsk, which is home to Russia's largest fleet of nuclear submarines. Ukraine also hit Olenya Guba Naval Base in Murmansk region. Now, in its strike, Ukraine claims to have struck Russia's strategic bomber fleet, A-50 early warning planes, Tu-95 strategic bombers and Tu-22M3 long-range attack aircraft. Well, according to Ukraine, Russia's multiple nuclear bombers were rendered useless and 41 aircraft were damaged or destroyed. Reports say that at Olenya Airfield near the Arctic Circle, drones were launched directly from a truck parked at a gas station. Russia's defense ministry confirmed on Telegram that several of its military aircraft caught fire, adding that there were no casualties and that several participants had been arrested. In response, the Russians claimed a strike on a training ground in Ukraine. Now, in a rare admission of its military losses, the Ukraine army said that the strike had killed a dozen soldiers. The attack led Ukrainian ground forces commander Mikhailo Drapati to announce his resignation. Well, earlier, Russia had claimed that a blast brought down a road bridge in Bryansk region bordering Ukraine on Saturday, derailing a passenger train heading to Moscow and killing 7 people. A separate rail bridge in the neighboring Kursk region was also blown up hours later in the early hours of Sunday, derailing a freight train and injuring the driver. Well, authorities did not say who was behind the explosions, but investigations said that a criminal inquiry was underway. Now, both attacks took place in the Russian territory of Kursk and Bryansk. Kursk is a region where the Ukrainian forces had penetrated through Russian borders last August, and Bryansk borders the Sumy region of Ukraine. The recent escalation came at a delicate moment when we're years into the war, and Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has said on Sunday that he was sending a delegation to Istanbul led by his defense minister Rustem Umerov for talks on Monday with Russian officials. Turkey is holding the meeting, which was spurred by US President Donald Trump's push for a quick deal to end the 3-year war. The Russian delegation, led by presidential aide Vladimir Medinsky, arrived in Istanbul on Sunday evening to take part in talks with the Ukrainian side. And for more on this, military expert Lieutenant Colonel Daniel L. Davis told us earlier that Russia could light strikes Kiev with Oreshnik missiles in the coming days. Listen in.
That's true, and I think that's the biggest concern that I have from the Ukraine side is that Russia has demonstrated use of these Oreshnik missiles, and if you have struck strategic targets, and listen, this is some pretty big deal. A lot of these Tu-95 bombers and other variants of the bombers were just parked on the row out in the open on these airfields. That's because the START treaty obligations require them to do so, just like it requires the United States to do so. And if now Russia sees that their strategic bombers are not respected in that, so now then they may move them in violation of that treaty.